welcome to April's Town Hall. A flurry of initiatives have been happening in the NEAR ecosystem. Spring is definitely in the air in the Northern Hemisphere. A couple of recent highlights, which we'll cover in more details as we go today through the Town Hall agenda. Last week, or actually 2 weeks ago, we've announced our partnership with Sweatcoin in Paris, and already we have over 1 million wallets that have been created, which is huge. TGE should happen in the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned for that. We've had a lot of in-person activities. I think it's fair to say that there is a flurry of conferences that are starting to happen back. We were at Paris Blockchain. We were in Amsterdam for DevConnect. We had several meetups organized in several parts and places of the world, but in particular, one in Portugal for the inauguration of our Ukraine in Exile hub. And last but not least, but we're also working on a first hacker house in Miami. On key projects, again, here, lots of amazing things happening, in particular on the side of fundraisers, and congrats to the many projects who have raised significant amounts of external capital, in particular, Mintbase, Bastion, Trislory, Sender, Wallet, Rocketo, and Burrow. We'll talk a bit more about those, but guys, congrats, that's amazing to see. If we go to our agenda for today, we have a couple of things that we'll follow through. So I'll start with an introduction to recap the NEAR ecosystem, but also focus on the foundation, what the role of the NEAR Foundation is, and what we do to help the ecosystem. In terms of updates, we'll have strategic partnerships covered by Chris, past and upcoming events covered by Yadira, education covered by Sharif, funding and ecosystem update by Josh, and we'll look at regions with Grace. Our panel of the month is music. And we'll have Team Exile from Endless, John Wharton from Artera Labs, Amber Stoneman from Minting Music, and this will be moderated by Vijay Gurbanashi. And with that, let's go into the introduction. So when we look at NEAR and what collectively as an ecosystem we're trying to achieve, it's really about creating the open web world, a world where people can control their assets, their data, and their power of governance. This is possible and empowered by the NEAR protocol, which we like to think in terms of simplicity, scalability, and security. Simplicity because it's simple to use, whether actually it's for end users or whether it's actually for developers. For end users, we try to strive on having user experiences that are as close as possible as Web 2. And for a developer, it's particularly enabling things such as JavaScript that make it open and accessible to millions of developers and not only just a few. Scalability and security comes through in particular with the proof of stake and nightshade sharding initiatives that we have that continuously secure the protocol and enable its continuous scalability. There's a fourth S that we'd like to come and think through, which is sustainability. The NEAR blockchain is climate neutral, and not only the blockchain, but also our entire ecosystem. We've partnered with South Pole to continuously assess and look at auditing the footprint, not only of the NEAR protocol, but also our entire ecosystem. And it's great to see a continuous increase of projects that are wanting to build on the NEAR protocol because of its commitment to sustainability. If we try to think at what is the NEAR ecosystem and how to represent that, the best design that we have for it is really this map. Almost at the center of it, you have the NEAR protocol, which is open source, on which several infrastructure player and partner are continuously building, whether it's, for example, Octopus, Aura, Machina, Pagoda, or Calimero. The type of project that we have and are being built can broadly be defined in three categories. Of course, the category of DeFi, the category of the creator economy with NFT and gaming, and digital cooperatives, also sometimes known as DAO. On the right-hand side, you have the different many partners who actually help things through how can funds and allocations and actually focus within the ecosystem be brought through. So for example, regional hubs are a great place to have funds dedicated to specific activities that help increase the footprint in a local place. Proximity Lab is the lab that focuses on DeFi, Human Guild focuses on gaming, and so on and so forth. At the bottom of this picture, you have the NEAR Foundation, which is the part that I lead. In terms of protocol, this slide again is something that's been shared broadly as a reminder, but today we are still in phase 0 of the protocol update and integrate. near is always near, and so there is continuous upgrades that are happening on an ongoing basis. Focus right now is actually on enabling us to increase, in particular, the number of validators to go into phase 1. As a foundation to support the near ecosystem, we have 3 main responsibilities. The first responsibility is to raise awareness of near, and that is something that we do, broadly speaking, through 2 main axes. First axe is actually how can we help educate very broadly on what is the open web, what is Web3, what is also near protocol. And that's the education program that will be covered a little bit going forward. Raising awareness is also through partnerships. What are the type of partnership that we can actually help foster so that they showcase real life use cases, so that it's actually easy and easier to understand the power of blockchain, and in particular what near could enable doing. The second pillar that we focus on as a near foundation is supporting projects who are building on near, whether it's actually individuals or whether it's project. Supporting means enabling projects to grow, sometimes through grants, but also having the right infrastructure. We are in a Lego land, blocks, and making sure that actually the different places and parts of the infrastructure are there so that a project can thrive is extremely important. And last but not least, but the third pillar that we focus on as a near foundation is ensuring and enabling governance, but also active external regulatory engagement where needed. The flywheel that we look after is all ultimately aimed at having weekly active engaged users. That's the North Star metric that we focus on. And the way to get there is to think through, well, to do that, we need to have at the top of this flywheel talents. How can we have qualified students, people who want to participate and understand what's building on a blockchain such as Nearmin? If we are able to increase the talent that wants to participate, then in turn, that will actually enable us to create and have great projects being created within the ecosystem. And so that's the second part of this flywheel. And ultimately, having great projects will ensure that we have active, engaged users. And at the center of this flywheel, you have the governance. So very simple to put on a slide, harder to put in reality, but that's what we like to be focused on and think through how can we actually help have the right flywheel and the right kickoff within the ecosystem. In terms of numbers, so great progress have been made through the ecosystem. Couple of things I wanted to highlight here. In the second pillar, you'll see we already are over 500 projects that have been created on the Near protocol. The number of accounts has been growing. We are now over 6 million accounts, and it's fantastic to see in particular the impact that a project such as Sweat Economy is having. And on the right-hand side, as you can see, TVL already over 3 billion, which is also fantastic progress. Near in the wild or near in the news, we've put here a couple of highlights, but it's been really good to see that actually, whether it's our footprint and our presence that we've had at the different conferences that we went through, or whether it's actually the fundraise that has been happening, we've seen quite a lot of places, and Near is being talked about more and more in the news. And last but not least, and I think after that, I'm going to hand over to the next person, but a huge congrats, as I was mentioning earlier, to the many projects who've actually raised. We've highlighted a couple here. I hope we're not forgetting anyone. If we are, I'm sure you'll reach out and let us know. But congratulations to the Rocketa team for raising 900,000 seed round from Move Capital, MetaWeb, and ANT Capital. Congratulations to the Bastion team for raising a new funding round led by James Street. Congratulations to the Trisolaris DAO for raising 4.5 million led by Electric Capital with participation from Jump, Dragonfly, Lemonscap, and Ethereal Ventures. Congratulations to Sender Wallet, which raised a seed round from MetaWeb, Binance Labs for the continued development of their non-custodial wallet on Near. Congrats to the Burrow team and project for raising 5 million round led by Dragonfly, Parafy, Jump, QCP, and for its non-custodial liquidity pool platform built on Near. And last but not least, congratulations to the Mintbase team for raising a 7.5 million Series A led by Woodstock Fund to expand the NFT infrastructure on Near. That's amazing to see. Great progress, great traction. And with that, I'm going to hand over to Chris Gent for strategic partnership overview.
Thank you, Marique. I will just do a quick overview on a number of strategic partnerships that we have launching and have launched in the last couple of weeks that you've likely seen in the news. Jumping into the first one, as Marie talked about, the sweat economy from the Sweatcoin team has really been an amazing thing to see. In the last 11 days or so, we've seen over 1 million accounts created on Near. Pretty phenomenal when you think about the future of movement and a new economy based on movement. So jumping into crypto is as easy as just walking. And really the health benefits, the economic benefits of that are going to be amazing to see unfold. And so I won't talk too much about what they do because the Sweatcoin team and Sweat Economy team has really put together some fun video materials to talk about the sweat economy. So with that, let's give that a watch.
Physical activity improves lives. It makes us healthier, happier, and more productive. So why not encourage more of it? That's why we created Sweat, to get the world moving. Because of attention, intention, and rewards, users are 20% more active after downloading the app. With a new cryptocurrency, we expand the possibilities, incentivizing more kinds of movement with better rewards to a global population. This is how we revolutionize the way the world thinks of activity. Welcome to Sweat Economy. Powered by Sweat, a cryptocurrency you can buy, sell, stake, exchange, and apply to endless new use cases. A mission to continually incentivize movement to create a healthier, wealthier world for everyone. Sweat Coin and Sweat. It pays to walk.
So the Sweat Coin app actually converts steps into new crypto. So Sweat is actually easily accessible around the globe. And like I said, over 1 million wallets created in the last 11 days, which is pretty phenomenal. But the team is just getting started. And this truly is a first touch that people can jump in with a very easy user experience to really start to see what the future that's crypto and Near-based looks like. All right. Looking at the roadmap, the team is really looking forward to what the future of the token economy looks like. So the ease of access of onboarding in the app, starting to look at how you can actually bring in partnerships and NFTs. Future forward looking, really starting to think about governance and on-chain voting for Sweat DAO, looking at NFT marketplace, and really starting to think about how do you engage people where they are, when they are with that movement. And leveraging that movement data and analytics to really drive the future of health and health outcomes. Super exciting what the team is doing there. Really looking forward to see where they go and how they continue to build momentum. But curious to see how far and how many accounts come from the Sweat economy to Near. Looking at SailGP. So you guys have heard SailGP in the news and starting to think about season 3. The countdown is on with the first race actually launching in Bermuda in May. As a reminder, this partnership really is about capturing the global attention of sport and really thinking about how does the sports league actually integrate crypto, blockchain, and Near into the DNA of their footprint. So for SailGP, we'll talk a little bit about upcoming milestones and really what is the roadmap for year 1. The approach here really is similar to the Sweat economy, finding very simple user experiences to bring people into crypto and Web3. We're looking at global adoption. We're looking at high impact, high visibility moments, and really creating an opportunity for teams and community members to participate in very different ways that you're not able to do in traditional sports. So also thinking about future of products like ticketing, how DAOs actually come in. We hear a ton of talk around DAOs and everything from motorsports to football teams, but really looking at how can, for the first time, a team be sold to a DAO. So first part really is about strategic onboarding and really going to market. You guys saw the news coming out of San Francisco at the end of season 2. That was just the beginning. So you'll see everything from rights on TV, QR codes on screen, and the ability to start engaging and even create wallets. But we'll start to look at other ways of actually activating and bringing new experiences in through the footprint of SailGP. From a technology roadmap perspective, really interesting opportunities for us to build ticketing open source with teams like Cognizant and Oracle, which is pretty phenomenal when you think about the ability for other ticketing services to pick up something that is open source. And then really looking at marketing support. So not only is this an opportunity for Near to be seen in 189 countries, but we're looking at ways to bring in the community and actually hero the community and get that kind of spread as well. So starting to think about NFTs and platforms like Mintbase, or Paras, and starting to see how can we activate in local markets, but at global scale. And then fun parts, you'll start to see branding on boats and calls to action to actually go and learn more about NEAR. So stay tuned for that. But I think on the next slide, we've got a fun little preview of what's to come in season 3. The turn marks that are actually in the course will actually have NEAR branding on them as well. And we'll also have QR codes. So hopefully, if you think about that moment around the big game, being able to see QR codes on screen and engage with NEAR and the blockchain in over 189 countries in real time is a pretty big deal. So with that, season 3 kicking off May 14th and 15th in Bermuda will be on global broadcast. So shifting from partnerships and really looking at upcoming and past events. So the last month has really been busy. We've been jumping around and really talking about NEAR in pretty formal settings, like Paris Blockchain Week. We've really seen a ton of activity and a ton of interest, both from a community perspective, but also with partners starting to advocate. So at Paris Blockchain Week, we had folks like Charlie from SailGP talking with Illias and team on panels, and really starting to look at what does the future look like with a property like SailGP, with adoption of DAOs, and the future of fan engagement. But we really had a great opportunity to talk about pioneering the future of DAOs. It is still very early days, but when we start to think about how DAOs on NEAR can actually lead the broader DAO ecosystem from a proof point, super excited to see that. And then Marique and Oleg from the Sweat Economy team had a great panel talking about access, movement, and the economies of the future on NEAR. Super exciting to think you can just walk, earn a token, and start to create economic value. Jumping to the next slide, we actually went from Paris to Amsterdam. So ton of education opportunities with Sharif Shashi and team, and really starting to talk about the development side and the roadmap for NEAR. Ilya talked a ton about the sharding roadmap and going from simple nightshade to full-fledged nightshade over the coming phases. And with that, we've got a ton of upcoming events. So if you haven't checked it out, check out near.events, and you'll start to see a lot of what's happening within the community. Some of these are organized by our team. Some of these are actually organized by community members. So if you've got a topic that you're looking to support, if you've got something that you're interested in, please do go in here, check these out, log your events, and help the community grow and thrive. Our next big event that's coming up is actually Consensus in Austin, Texas. We've got some pretty amazing activation opportunities at that event. Is one of the biggest events in the US. So really looking forward to Consensus and bringing the community and partners together. Hopefully we will see you there. And if you're looking forward to going and you haven't purchased a ticket yet, there is a NEAR community ticket where you can receive 25% off. Give a check on the slide here, but also in the notes and details in YouTube. Sign up on the Consensus website. And with that, I will pass it over to Sharif for education.
Thanks so much, Chris. Appreciate it. Hey, everybody, let's talk about education for a couple of minutes. So for sure, being in Amsterdam for DevConnect was a lot of fun, met some great people, and very much looking forward to continuing those conversations. To get into education, a reminder, NEAR University, near.university is where you can learn more about all of these things. We've got tens of thousands of students, millions in ecosystem grants, and tens of programs shipping, with more programs on the way. At the top of the queue of our programs, although this is not the complete list that we have, we are interested in engaging people with our NEAR certified programs, NEAR certified analyst, developer, and entrepreneur. We have about half of our applicants coming in, half of you that are submitting to join a certification program are saying that you have no software development experience. And so we want to meet you where you are with a NEAR certified analyst program. And that is basically to spend some time talking about what are these systems, how do you think about them, and how can you make a contribution without necessarily fingers on a keyboard typing code. As would a NEAR certified developer. So we're excited to announce the upcoming launch here of NEAR certified analyst. We have a couple of different proposals in play, and hopefully this quarter we'll see that course in full swing. We have continued with our near certified developer, new teachers, new content, and so on. And the plan is to actually see the near certified developer automated to the point where you can take a self-service course from beginning to end. Now that we've tested out that course for some amount of time, we have a good amount of feedback there, and we're comfortable that we can actually start to scale that out. And then near certified entrepreneur, we've launched the first iteration of that back in early February, I believe. And that's just getting wrapped up now. We're aiming to launch the second one in May as this first cohort begins to wrap up. Lots of great activity there in the near certified entrepreneur cohort. Really excited to see what projects come out of that. So these are our featured certification programs. Learn more at near.university. We are also doubling down on something that has been on people's minds for quite a while. So even as late as early as late last year, people were asking for better onboarding to the Near ecosystem. How can we make the experience of getting oriented and getting started easier and smoother? We finally hope that we found something that is going to make a difference in your life and the lives of all of those that are new to Near. With this better onboarding experience. It has a number of names today, welcome track and smooth boarding and so on. But in the end, you'll find it at Near University sometime in the next week or so. We plan a soft launch and then we'll start to market and grow from there. So you'll definitely hear about this. But we're starting with two tracks, one for React developers and one for entrepreneurs. And so that way we hope that we can get some good feedback, both technical and non-technical. And then as we start to mature out this on-ramp, it'll be better. But you're gonna learn exactly what you need, get instant access to updated content, and it'll be self-guided. And of course, as I said, we'll start with React developers and entrepreneurs. So hopefully this will be good and you'll enjoy it. Keep your eye out for that better onboarding coming at Near University. That'll come up soon. The fellowship program, many of you are familiar with this, near.university/fellows, if you want to sign up and learn a little bit more about this program, has been growing. We have over 500 applications now in for this fellowship program, and about 1 in 10 people who apply get an interview and get involved in the program. It's quite a high bar that we're holding, and we hope to even raise that bar a little bit to keep people in good company. And it's very exciting because this is a kind of a low or no friction entry point into the Web3 space. It's not just for programmers, but also for entrepreneurs, designers, teachers, writers, and researchers. As you can see here, a few of the options that we have available to you. The idea is you come in, you submit an application, and we have checkpoints every month, 30, 60, 90 days. Can be full or part-time. You set the pace for yourself, and we compensate you in Near tokens. Whatever is a fair compensation for your experience in your region. So very excited about the fellowship program. That's been moving well. On the next slide here, let's take a look at the impact we've had so far. 9 out of 10 fellows are saying that they work in collaboration with each other. So this fellowship is not an isolated experience. You're really spending time connecting with other people in your community. And that's of course important because it builds your professional network and brings in fresh ideas from the diversity of mental models that you get exposed to. 9 out of 10 fellows are also working on driving user adoption and growth among our user base. And 9 out of 10 fellows are helping more people learn about Near. So it really is about user adoption through education in collaboration. That is what most of the fellows are doing. 7 out of 10 are also increasing the number of developers, so targeting technical users, and that's pretty exciting. And about half of all fellows are actually launching new projects in some form or another. Some of those are educational products, some of those are NFT products and the usual suspects, as you can imagine. And here on the right, we have a quote from one of the fellows that seems to appreciate what's happening so far. Near.university fellows, please check it out. Thank you so much and have a great April. On to Josh for funding.
Thank you, Sharif. That was really exciting updates from the education side. There's always great activity there. Hello, everyone. Josh Daniels here. I'm going to provide a brief update on funding and our ecosystem broadly, which has seen a lot of growth over the last quarter as we've kicked off the year. So first, as we always like to do, is give just a general overview of what we think about when we think of funding within the Near ecosystem. And the big piece of that is developing our funding platform, which again has these 4 pillars, which are really around supporting a diverse collective of folks who are interested in engaging in the Near ecosystem, providing them access through introductions, through connectivity and products, as well as community support, and then making sure we're aligning incentives. And so as projects are developing and building, whether it's at the MVP stage or transitioning from a Web 2 experience, incentives are aligned and everyone's looking to drive growth from the ecosystem standpoint. Now, I want to take a moment here and just speak to funding growth year to date. So we've had a lot of activity in the ecosystem and a lot of positive activity. On the external funding side, quickly, I know Marique mentioned quite a few projects that have raised, which is so exciting, but want to kind of talk more at a top level in terms of the numbers. And so we've had over $64 million of closed funding rounds from outside sources in the ecosystem to date. We have 90 plus projects actively fundraising now, looking for a total valuation of 4.3 billion. And those projects are raising around $480 million. And so I know we have a lot of active backers and advisors and VCs that are engaged in the ecosystem. So continue to stay in touch with us for introductions or engagement there, but really exciting stuff in growth. Now on sort of the grant side of things, we've had a really banner quarter in terms of grant growth and support. But I think the important thing to note as we look at our grants program is not necessarily how much we're deploying or committing to deploy, but the quality of those projects. And we've really seen an uptick in the quality of projects that are coming into the ecosystem, whether they're looking for a multi-chain strategy or transitioning from Web 2 or tier 1 teams that are coming in to build from a first principle standpoint. And so we've committed to deploying almost $26 million in capital year to date. To almost 360 projects. And the important thing to note as well here is that the diversity of those projects is quite expansive, whether it's on a regional basis or in terms of the sub-ecosystems or areas of the general near environment that they're looking to deploy. So really excited about that growth and continued to focus there. One of the projects we are supporting is eFuse. They received a grant recently from the Near Foundation, and we're really excited to take their esports and gaming project and team into the Web3 environment. And there's two ways we're going to be partnering with them. One is the creation of an NFT platform to help to mint gaming moments for particular folks that are using the esports and eFuse environment. The next is setting up a league via DAOs to help basically run gaming esports leagues on top of eFuse, leveraging the Near technology and the AstroDAO technology. We're really excited for the potential here and what that could mean for the ecosystem as we continue to see more and more projects in the gaming space, really excited and wanting to sort of build on Near. And continuing on sort of the gaming narrative, one of our guilds within the ecosystem, Human Guild, has actually just created a really great video highlighting a bunch of projects that are crypto games on Near, some which they are directly supporting via grants or advisory, and then others that have just organically developed in the ecosystem. And so I'll pause here to show a bit of the video. That was great. Human Guild has been an incredible long-term team in the ecosystem that's been really driving at this gaming narrative. And it's great to see a lot of these different games come to fruition and really have these unique, diverse gaming experiences. So really exciting to see. Another way that we've really been activating the ecosystem is through some of our accelerator relationships. So this past week, we actually supported and partnered with the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania for their initial batch of the Cypher Accelerator. And they had their demo day this past Friday. A lot of great projects were able to present. It was great also to see the team that was running the Cypher Accelerator, including folks from undergrad and grad, as well as professors. And there was a lot of great content. Chris Giancarlo, who's the former CFTC chairman and runs the Digital Dollar Project, did a keynote speech where he spoke about sort of the need to really engage local lawmakers as they're thinking about what does it mean for crypto to become sort of something involved in the broader sort of narrative as it expands and grows as a Web3 environment. It was also great to see several of the projects that were presenting. They were quite diverse in terms of business models and use cases. One of the projects actually is actively already building on Near Metaversal AI that's supported by MetaWeb, one of our ecosystem funds. So it was really exciting to meet and engage with a bunch of these projects. Please be on the lookout for many other accelerators we're going to be supporting in the future, especially from a global perspective. So really excited to see. And if to learn more about Cypher Accelerator and their next batches, please visit them here on Twitter. Next up, one of the other ways we've really seen organically of folks wanting to engage with the Near ecosystem is through this concept called hacker houses. It's something that in Web3 that's gained a lot of traction. And the idea is that you have a sort of set amount of time where a community of developers locally in a particular city or region come together and meet and have sort of hackathons and content and learning and just general social engagement. And so we're going to be working with an independent group that's already sort of developed this and is building this on their own to have the first hacker house in Miami, which will take place a little bit later in May. So we're really excited to see the developments here, and you can scan the QR code over the lower right corner to learn more. But as we start to expand on this as an opportunity, we expect more folks in the ecosystem to really raise their hand and want to sort of have these in their own local areas. So really excited to see this development and growth. So lastly, I want to leave you with this slide here, which basically talks about if you are a builder, how can you get more involved? And that's whether you're already actively building in the Near ecosystem or you're looking to join in the early days. So for builders, there's many ways to get involved. You can reach out to the funding team directly for several types of funding models. You can also reach out to our grant pools, which focus on particular sub-ecosystems within the broader Near ecosystem. We also have our backers network, which is a collection of VCs, angels, and advisors who are really looking to engage and support projects within the broader ecosystem. And then ultimately here, you can see these various other links out to major projects and teams in the ecosystem. So definitely excited for folks to continue to build. And if you want to learn more, please reach out. And so I'll pass it off now to Grace to talk about regional hubs.
Well, thank you, Josh, for those funding updates that are also relevant for the regions. And that brings me to the regional overview. I hope to make a very brief one, since most of you already know what regional hubs are. So let's get to the basics. In a nutshell, why, what, and how. We understand the why is because there is a need for us to decentralize even more and to create the means for mass adoption. What are the hubs? Where they are independent entities. They are completely aligned with the foundation's missions and objective, but they are completely autonomous and independent entities. They have been set up by a Web3 experience leader, and they are looking at creating traction in the open web, in the Web3 world. The way they do this is in two different verticals. One vertical aims at creating talent, Web3 talent, and the other vertical aims at creating Web3 projects, building on Near. And these two verticals complete what a hub function will entail. Just to make sure that it's clear, hubs are not Near offices in those locations. They're not an extension of the Near Foundation. So the current state shows that we have 5 hubs. We are allocating 100 million in funding to create the network of regional hubs. And all these are very much focusing in developing the ecosystem. That means very close ties with Near universities, with product labs, with Web3 incubators for both talents and projects, and for ecosystem funds. If anyone wants to get involved and wants to understand a little more about how to get started with a hub, please feel free to join the Telegram group. This is an overview of the hubs as we have them today. As I mentioned before, we have 5 active hubs and 14 are under consideration. As you can see, the extent to which we want to create a good reach of hubs that will be a fully decentralized ecosystem for NEAR, it's the main goal here. Underneath here, you see all the different activities that the hubs are currently taking on. Some of the hubs are fully fleshed, functional hubs with local events, local communities, web talent, product lab, fast grants, ecosystem funds, and some hubs are just starting with the very basics: local events, local communities, Web3 talent incubation. So there are different levels of evolution and maturity of these hubs. We hope that any hub can feel that they can get started very easily. Let's talk about the ones that are active right now, and I will start with Ukraine. Ukraine was one of the early hubs that went live this year, early January, and circumstances have changed for them drastically. So therefore, they had to refocus their activities to help refugees fleeing Ukraine and settling in Europe. A lot of that work was done not only for the core team, but also for family members and people that were already part of the NEAR ecosystem. The team is looking after community building, project accelerators, product lab, and an ecosystem fund as well. They have a very active ecosystem development activities, which includes fast grants, hackathons, conferences, office hours, and monthly meetups. As you can see in the pictures, this was the very last meetup they held. They have a very specialized product lab. It's currently working on a central bank digital currency, which has already been piloted in Ukraine. And that's one of the most amazing products they are building. They are actively hiring, and I will encourage anyone who wants to join the Ukraine Hub in Exile in Portugal to please contact them through the website. The next one is Kenya, and this is a very simple but very effective grassroots way of building a hub. This hub came from the guild, from the local Kenyan guild, Sankori 2.0. This hub is focusing right now on events, academy, ecosystem bounties, and incubating projects. So far they have organized several events that are bringing students from 5 different universities into this event, with people attending over 280 in one event alone. They're also training a lot of the students who want to be now NEAR certified developers, and are incubating a total of 7 projects, 3 of them which were just incubated in the last month. This hub has been in live for only 2 months. The third one is the Balkans, and this is the last hub that went live right in the beginning of April. They are raising awareness and hitting the ground running. That means that they have already launched several events in 4 different countries. They have created a lot of tractions, and that has prompted some PR coverage across several of the countries. They have a one successful lab product, proof of concept that is already coming out, very much involved in university relations and partnerships. And they're going to formally launch the hub at Block Split in Croatia, the event for this year that is at the end of May. If you are in Croatia, you should check them out. The next hub to go live is Latin America, or LATAM. And this hub entails Mexico, Colombia, Venezuela, and Argentina. We are very happy to have them live very soon. They're in the process of getting themselves settled and ready for launch. It is under the leadership of Nativo Venture, and more to come about the LATAM hub for the next time. So that concludes the regional hubs update. And now the best part of the town hall, which is the panel. Enjoy it.
What we're going to talk about today in this panel is really the future of music and entertainment and perhaps gaming in the context of a bunch of new technological developments. We're going to talk about Web3, we're going to talk about blockchain, we're going to talk about NFTs, and really talk about the possibilities in the future. So where is this world going? What are the new opportunities available to all of us? And how can we exploit these opportunities? And I think we're in for some exciting times. And unsurprisingly, it's the creative world that is actually showing us the way. Which I'm really excited to learn more about. So with that, I'm going to welcome the panel. I'm going to do a short introduction on each of them, and then they're going to introduce themselves and their companies. And so I'm just going to go in the order that you appear on my screen, which may not be the order in which you appear. It appears on your screen. We'll start with Amber Stoneman, who is the CEO of Minting Music. Tim Exile, who is the founder of Endless Music. Iota, who is an NFT business developer with TankDAO. And Nathan Pillay with Endeavor. So Amber, take it away. Tell us a little bit about yourself and the company.
Yeah, I've been in the music business for the past 10 years. I headed the largest independent community in the city of Nashville, which is kind of, by no surprise, is the heartbeat of the music industry as a whole. And so tapped into the independent artist community, and as NFTs and blockchain became a topic of conversation, it forced like innovators in the space to look at it and explore it. And that's when we created Minting Music, which is in the name. We specifically only work with music NFTs. We use NFTs as a technological process, not technically a thing, but a process to get somewhere. You know, we're really excited about white label NFT marketplaces, building those for artists, teams, labels, publishing companies, management companies, anybody with a roster, and giving them the ability to create a more engaging fan base, to bring on. We deal with a lot of independent investors for artists that we work with. So now I think blockchain is giving us space for investors to come in independently and have a locked in ROI. Yeah, so, and we also bring NFTs to the mainstream music festival space. So, you know, like being able to engage with the crowd, elevated experiences, you know, elevated tickets, you know, airdrops, collaborating on NFTs in real time with other people that go to festivals. So there's just a lot, there's so much exploring that's going to be able to happen in this space. Yeah, so that's kind of what we're working on with Minting Music, is just to create like that bridge between 2.0 and 3.0, making the NFT marketplace feel very 2.0, without like all of the things that, you know, blockchain doesn't look pretty behind the scenes. So I think the cool thing about building with Near is we've been able to really focus on a clean, very simple and easy to use interface.
Great, thank you, Amber. Tim?
Yeah. So I'm Tim Exile. I'm the founder of Endless, which is a live collaborative music creation platform. We actually started building in the Web2 world quite a few years ago now. We launched our first product in the marketplace just over a couple of years ago. What's really magical about Endless is it allows you to collaborate in real time with musicians around the world. So you can spin up what's kind of music's answer to a live musical chat, where you can throw down musical ideas, share them with a bunch of people in real time, and anybody can chime in, add layers to that, remix it, and send it back. So it's conversational music making, and this is really kind of inspired by my first life as a musician, as a recording artist. I was a producer. I was really deep into electronic music production. I loved the sound world, but I found it very disembodied. And I'm an extrovert. I like to communicate with people. I like to vibe with people. I like the things I say to be an opportunity for someone to say something back, rather than just a statement that goes out into the ether. So that was what inspired me to found Endless. And absolutely love everybody in the Near ecosystem who I've been introduced to. Also, the tech is absolutely great. It's fast, 1 second block time, instant finality, human readable wallet addresses, and so many other things that, Near is being built for consumer mass adoption. And that's what we're here for.
And ultimately, that's what we want, because we're taking ourselves into a different world. But Tim, I have to say, and I'll get to you, IOTA, in a minute, but you reminded me of I hadn't planned to talk about this, but this movie called Echo in the Canyon. I don't know if you've seen it or not. Where it's the California rock sound in the 70s, I want to say maybe late 60s, 70s. And the reason innovation happened, as I'm a big music fan, happened as rapidly as it did was because all these musicians lived on one hill. I think drugs had a little bit to do with it as well, but I think a lot of it had to be with them crashing into each other's homes, and whatever innovations they were coming up musically got shared. So this was like a 2-year phenomenon, and it completely changed the face of music. We're talking about the Mamas and the Papas, Buffalo Springfield, all those bands, right? And what you are talking about now, which I find just so exciting, is you're enabling that with technology. You don't have to live on the same hill. You can be global. You can do this in real time. And I think this is really going to change the face of how music is developed and written and performed. But I also think it sort of changes what it is we create, right? Because you're allowing for things that we weren't doing before.
Hi, okay. This is IOTA. I'm from the Tankbay team, and Tankbay is a near NFT focused incubator style launchpad. In the past 3 months, we've helped 20 collection launch their PFP project on top of Near. What we provide, including technical support, marketing, and community building, as long as also like connecting the team with the dev power to build their long-term success utilities. Also, we are very well connected with the space, so we've helped the teams to get their financial support through Near ecosystem or through connecting them with independent VC. The team actually has over 20 years experience in digital art creation. Besides the culture contribution to Near, we also have technical expertise. The core team providing the smart contract is actually the members that contributed NEP 171 NFT standard on top of Near. We're looking forward to this topic and join the conversation.
Fantastic. Thank you, Iota. Nathan, so you come at this quite differently, I guess, working at Endeavor as you do. So Nathan's with Endeavor, one of the biggest, I think, talent management content houses out there. So Nathan, take it away.
Thank you, Vijay, and thank you for having me. Endeavor is a publicly listed business on the New York Stock Exchange. We're 7,000 people plus. We kind of occupy a very unique space in that we sit right across the entertainment spectrum. And so I guess in the context of Web3, we would sit across or sit at the heart of all of the different passion points that can really drive mass consumer adoption. And that's because the things that we own, operate, license, or manage are the kind of things that people deeply care about. And so when we think about how to drive adoption into Web3, we are incredibly fortunate that we are seeing so many different ideas, projects, concepts that are bubbling to the surface that we kind of that we're seeing on a daily basis. And so, one part of our business, William Morris Endeavor, is one of the largest talent agencies in the world, from athletes, directors, producers, writers, any form of talent. We are very fortunate to be in a position to be able to represent them. And so we are seeing a lot of opportunities coming to this talent in a variety of different ways.
What are some of the big opportunities that you see in this space right now for the people that you represent?
Well, I think there's a lot of talk about disruption and obviously the kind of the disintermediation of the value chain, and how there's going to be a shift of wealth and influence. I really see it as an opportunity for all parts of the ecosystem to kind of work together. And yes, there'll be maybe fairer distributions of wealth, but really for me, I think it's how do we look at growing the size of the pie rather than figuring out what part of the pie each one gets.
Right.
Because I think everyone has a role to play in this. And so whether you're a studio, your industry is not going to be disrupted overnight. It's just going to evolve. I think, throughout history, there's, every time there's been a major technological advancement, it's just about evolution. And sure, there's going to be winners, there's going to be losers. But I think what we should all be working toward is how do we all come together, whether that's through, A&R, whether that's through, if you're a filmmaker and trying to get your project funded. There's just so many areas where I see those communities who may have been disenfranchised and not had access to this now have opportunity. And I think opportunity is really what Web3 comes down to, is broadening reach, and that for me is the most exciting aspect of this.
Yeah, one of the things I read about SailGP was I believe there's an all-women sailing team now, right? And so you can see that people who have a stake in it can become stakeholders in these sort of interesting new initiatives. Amber, I'm going to go over to you next. Tell us about some of the most exciting things you've done at your company. Like, what are some of these new things that you, NFTs or otherwise, that you're able to do now?
Yeah, I mean, wow, this list is so long. Being in the industry for so long, when I saw NFTs and I understood the technological process, I started thinking about where do our problems lie, and how can this technology fix it? Because I think ultimately that's what we're going to need for it to do. There's no surprise that the music industry is broken in a lot of ways. I work directly with pro-level independent artists that have been with labels and are currently with labels, and maybe not on a label anymore, but all to each their own, but figuring out different ways. Ways to license. Licensing is hard in the industry, licensing with major platforms like Facebook and Instagram. And how do you go get your payments from YouTube? How many different agencies do you have to register your music with across the globe to be able to get paid? And the answer is very scattered. Like I've discovered over 11, and most artists that you talk to only know 2. So there's just a lot of money being left on the table. And I feel, what we're working on with Minting Music is right now we're building white label NFT marketplaces. So we're seeing fan engagement, we're seeing merch sales and NFT sales kind of almost be reflective of each other. The artists are learning how to coach their fans that you can resell your NFT and make money off of it. So I think there's a whole leg that people are just now starting to talk about with the resale, the secondary sale. And then actually one piece that we're most excited about right now is rentable NFTs, which actually disrupts the licensing space. A rentable NFT is a license. Sync licensing is the #1 revenue stream in the music industry right now. And you talk to any sync licensing agent, they have a really, really, really hard time ensuring the client stays in line with the contract. So, I've seen a client exceed the contract by 2 weeks and owe $80,000 to the artist. So there are some broken places, and I feel like technology should be used to fix the holes, and then to also elevate what is already being done. We are also doing airdrops at concerts. So we're taking our regular Web 2.0 creators, the photographer, the videographer, we're pulling the content immediately. We're putting it into a template and we're airdropping it into the crowd in real time. So they're getting memorabilia. We collect all this stuff anyways. We collect the poster, we collect your lanyard, we collect our wristbands all year from a festival. So how do we digitize this? How do we make it beneficial financially to the fan too? Because I think that grows into in a super fandom way. And I think we're able to unlock super fans in a whole new dynamic. And then two, a couple of other things, crowdfunding. With the dissolve of Pledge Music a couple of years ago, there was a huge void left in the space. We still have Kickstarter, we have Patreon, but again, I feel like the Web3 space is taking these 2.0 companies and creating just an ecosystem for crowdfunding, for ways to gain revenue, for ways to gain investors. So for the artist, it is about elevating an experience, but if we are to talk about the nitty-gritty of it, they are broke. they're broke. They're left with nothing. They're getting 15% of the overall song when it's fractionalized out between 30 different owners. Like, they're the last ones to touch the money, and it's causing mental health too. The financial aspect is causing a huge, huge increase since 2020 in mental health in the music industry. And I've always been an underdog advocate, and now the technology has created a way for us to be able to do that.
Tim, tell us what it's like for you as at Endless Music and so on. We'd love to hear more about your perspective.
To add to what you just said about the ideals that we're pursuing, I think another one, particularly what we're thinking of at Endless, is actually enfranchisement. Decentralization, I think, is a very valuable technical benchmark, a technical ideal that we're all we want the systems that we build our identities on to be decentralized and not be controlled by one single entity. But I think from the point of view of creators and the point of view of culture, the biggest thing, the biggest wrong to be righted is that creators have been disenfranchised from the platforms we use to create value, and really all that value gets delivered to shareholders. I mean, the people who've made the most money out of Spotify were the early investors and the shareholders. The same with Facebook, etc. I mean, it's a pattern that's replicated. Connect with each other all over the world using this decentralized network in real time, but the value that was created there couldn't be tracked by the technology layer. So anyway, what I think is really important, and what we're really aiming to do at Endless, is to enfranchise our community. So we already have a community of about 150,000 accounts on the platform. There's a huge number of people making music on Endless right now, and you can open the app and there's people there making music. The majority of these tokens will end up being owned by our community, and that will be the token will represent the ownership and control of the Endless ecosystem. So, aside from our NFT marketplace, I think it's just really important that creators own the platforms that they deliver value to, because when it comes to culture, the creators deliver the value, really.
Why blockchain and why Near? Like, what does this enable?
So I actually entered the space with a different angle, which is starting from building the creators community. So Near actually has the NFT market not for long. That was at the very early of 2021. So that's at the very beginning of the NFT hype start. We have on Near, we have our first, second, the market, NFT marketplace, which is for us. And at that time, Near as a new chain, you have to attract artists to hey, there is another alternative way to launch your NFT project. Mm-hmm. So we see what's successful for attracting them is to build this creators culture, like find the best way to facilitate them, and probably not at the beginning. That's the most financially powerful blockchain. So what we do is through a bunch of NFT, creator culture building stuff, for example, card for card for artists to support each other when there's when the buyers have not been seen. And then more we see is the artists or the creators, they're not gonna stay long, even though they saw all the benefit of all. There's a very easy onboarding. It's a fast transaction. The gas fee is low. But when they've launched their project here for approximately 2 to 3 weeks, and it's not like the liquidity not going well, they left. They eventually they've tried and they left. That's when we starting to shifting from building the contents, like starting with the creators community, and make sure the content on their platform is to the standard, can attract buyers. And the other side, we starting to really provide open source facility to the creators that we already established here to, hey, you can you're not just supported by just infrastructure. You're also supported by all the tooling that we have. That's TankDAO begins. If you are interested to launch an NFT project, you can go to tankbay.com. That's our platform. We are providing technical support, marketing, and the community building support. And yeah, don't hesitate to reach out.
Nathan, your closing thoughts?
I'm most excited about purpose. You know, and I think we're at a time and space where more of us are thinking about our role in society and what we can do with, you know, our thoughts, our energy, our impact. And, you know, what's great about Web3 and practically speaking, what I get to do every day with SailGP is that we have a purpose that exists beyond profit and entertainment. And Near is really helping us to enable that. You go to sailgp.com/Near. You'll be able to see all the exciting developments that we're working on.
So thank you all. I just want to close with a few quick thoughts. One is I'm just blown away by all the things that all of you are doing. You know, people thought Web 2 was a big deal. Web 3 is a big, you can add an F in the middle deal, right? And for me, you know, creatives are what make the world fun, what makes the world livable. We sort of we consume culture in whichever way we choose to consume it. And anything that we can do to sort of encourage the creation of content, sort of make the world a better place for all of us. But the thing that I will be completely candid here that I wasn't anticipating is all of your passion for equity and equality, for the environment. You know, it's just wonderful to see, because we all know that the world is under grave threat from a variety of different causes. And so while we make the world a better place, we also want to make it more equal, which is part of making it a better place. And I can't wait to see sort of what you all go out and create. I think it should be great fun. And I think the world is going to be a lot different in a few years from now and a lot better with the energy of folks like you. And then thanks to Chris and David at the Near Foundation for providing us with this opportunity to share our thoughts. It was a delight to meet all of you and hear what you had to say. So thank you all.